You think she's the one. She says the right things. She does just enough to keep you around. But something doesn't feel right. You keep making excuses. You keep telling yourself, she's just stressed. It'll pass. But deep down, you feel it. Your peace is slipping. Your fire is fading. And what's worse, you're starting to forget who you were before you met her. Let's not sugarcoat it. If your woman does these 5 things, she's not your partner. She's your poison. 1. She mocks your masculinity. It doesn't always start with shouting. Sometimes the most damaging disrespect comes wrapped in humor. She calls you soft, tells her friends you're not like other men, mocks the way you talk, the way you dress, even the way you express your emotions. And when you call her out, she hides behind sarcasm. Relax. I'm just playing. But you're not laughing. At first you try to brush it off. You think, maybe I'm too sensitive. You tell yourself she's just being playful. But slowly her words start to echo in your head. You find yourself trying to act tougher, not because it's who you are, but because you're trying to earn her respect. Here's the truth she won't tell you. She doesn't want you stronger. She wants you smaller, easier to control, easier to belittle. A woman who mocks your masculinity isn't joking. She's measuring how much she can degrade you before you break. You see, masculinity isn't about chest thumping or domination. It's about discipline, stability, direction. A Stoic man isn't violent. He's grounded. He doesn't need to roar to be powerful. His silence speaks louder than her insults ever could. But when you're constantly forced to defend your masculinity in your own relationship, you've already lost something more important than pride. You've lost peace. You don't need to prove your manhood to a woman who gets off on tearing it down. Because real masculinity isn't loud. It doesn't seek approval. It simply walks away from anything that threatens its center. If she can't respect your nature, she has no business being near your future. 2. She weaponizes your vulnerability. Every man has a war he's fought in silence. And when you met her, you thought you finally had peace. You opened up. You shared the battles. The father who left. The pressure to provide. The fear of not being enough. And for a moment it felt safe. She listened. She held you. She said, I love how open you are. But then came the shift. During arguments, she throws it back at you like a dart. Maybe that's why your mom didn't trust you. No wonder you have trust issues. You're broken. Now your truth isn't sacred anymore. It's ammo. She didn't listen to understand. She listened to collect, to use, to cut. And here's the Stoic truth. Trust is a gift, not a currency. You don't owe anyone your wounds. And once those wounds become leverage, you're not in love. You're in a power struggle. A healthy woman will never use your honesty against you. She'll protect it like something sacred. Because vulnerability is not weakness. It's strength under control. It's the courage to be seen. But when your softness becomes her strategy, when your pain becomes her punchline, you're not being loved, you're being disarmed. And a man without armor isn't in danger. He is the danger to himself. Because once you start shrinking in silence, you're already bleeding inside a battle she created. Walk away. Not because you're weak, but because some people don't deserve access to your truth. 3. She thrives on chaos. Not every storm is loud. Some storms wear lipstick. And some women, they don't want peace, they want control. One day she's warm, the next she's distant. She starts arguments over nothing, accuses you of things you didn't do, tells you you're too cold, then blames you for overreacting. She creates fires just to watch how fast you'll burn for her. Here's what's really happening. She's addicted to emotional volatility because chaos gives her leverage. As long as you're off balance, she's in charge. You start walking on eggshells. You stop speaking your mind. You rehearse your words before you talk to her. Not because you respect her, but because you fear the explosion. Stoics call this tyranny of the unstable. When your peace depends on someone else's mood, you're not in a relationship. You're in a hostage situation. And here's the worst part. After the chaos, she'll always act like it never happened. She'll kiss you, laugh, pretend like everything's fine, and you'll convince yourself it is. That cycle, it's not love, it's emotional conditioning. And if you stay long enough, you'll start confusing peace with boredom. because she taught you that love has to hurt to feel real. But that's not Stoic. That's survival mode, and survival isn't sustainable. Not for your mind, not for your mission. If she finds comfort in crisis and peace makes her itch, she's not a partner. She's a storm, and you weren't built to drown. 4. She isolates you from your mission. You had goals, you had structure, you had a direction. Then she came in, and slowly things shifted. You started skipping the gym because she wanted to cuddle. You stopped grinding on your business because she called you obsessed. She says, "You're always working. Can't you just relax? Why do you care so much about money anyway?" At first it sounds harmless, like she just wants time with you. But what she's really doing is detaching you from your edge. And the edge? That's where a man becomes who he's meant to be. See, a Stoic man isn't just chasing money. He's chasing purpose, duty, legacy. He wakes up with intention. He respects time. He doesn't need to be told to slow down because he's already spent years learning how to move with discipline. But to a woman who's threatened by your growth, your mission feels like competition. And instead of rising to meet you, she'll try to drag you back down to her comfort zone. This is subtle warfare. She's not yelling. She's distracting, interrupting, sabotaging, and eventually you stop pursuing the future because the present has become one long negotiation. She wants your time, your focus, your sacrifice. But here's what she won't give you: the space to become the man you were born to be. You don't need to choose between love and purpose because real love makes your purpose stronger. It fuels you. It doesn't drain you. And if a woman's presence is pulling you away from your vision, she's not your partner. She's your anchor. The Stoic man never sacrifices the future for temporary affection, because what you build now is what you stand on later. And if she can't stand beside you while you build, she has no place in the palace once it's finished. 5. She stops trying. It doesn't happen overnight. At first, everything feels alive. She laughed at your jokes, sent good morning texts, dressed up when she knew she'd see you, asked about your dreams and listened. But now, she barely looks up from her phone. She's always tired, always busy. You talk, she scrolls, you plan, she cancels. You start doing all the work, planning the dates, initiating the affection, carrying the conversations, and worse, you start accepting it. Because somewhere deep down, you're afraid of starting over. But here's what you need to understand. Effort is a reflection of value. When someone values you, they try, they show up, they participate. When she stops putting in effort, she's no longer choosing you. She's tolerating you. And tolerance is a death sentence for intimacy. Now ask yourself this: would a king beg for effort? Would a Stoic warrior chase validation from someone who's already checked out? Number. Because love that has to be forced was never love to begin with. A Stoic man doesn't demand affection. He inspires it through presence, clarity, and consistency. But when that presence is taken for granted, the response isn't to try harder. It's to walk away, quietly, with dignity. Because the truth is, when someone stops trying, they've already left the relationship. They're just waiting for you to make it official. So make it official, not with bitterness, not with drama, but with clarity. She stopped trying. Now it's your turn to stop staying. Here's the truth. No woman is worth sacrificing your peace, your mission, or your identity. If she mocks your masculinity, twists your pain, thrives on chaos, steals your purpose, and punishes with silence, it's not love. It's a slow death. You don't need closure. You don't need one last conversation. You need to walk and never turn back. Because the man you were before her deserves to come back stronger. And the man you're becoming, he has no room for poison. Subscribe. Because next time, we'll talk about how to rebuild the Stoic way.